Summer comes late and leaves early around here. And so my little cottage garden doesn't produce much. But of course I want to use in the kitchen whatever it does produce. The art of using small and unreliable harvests is all about flexibility. And I find that the easiest thing to do is to cook all kinds of soups, because that's where you can combine almost anything. From the first tender vegetables and wild herbs in spring, to carrots and chard in summer, tomatoes and zucchini later on, and finally the heartier vegetables of autumn. When winter comes, I like to make stews with dried pulses, but for summer I find that too heavy, and I prefer to make light soups and combine them with some homemade bread. However, summer is a time when many families don't spend much time in the house, and we're not an exception. So for our suppers in summer, I don't often make the sourdough rye bread that I make during the rest of the year, but quicker breads with yeast. And I normally use instant yeast because fresh yeast doesn't keep very long in the cellar, and we don't have a refrigerator. The bread that you see me making here is my summer favorite. It's garlic bread with herbs from the garden, which means it allows me to use those too. And I make it with freshly milled wheat, but it would also work with store-bought whole wheat flour or even all-purpose. I bake nearly all of our bread myself for a variety of reasons. And one reason is that I simply enjoy the process of bread making. I find it relaxing. But even if I didn't, it wouldn't be a lot of extra work. When I prepare supper, I begin with making the dough, which takes about 5 minutes. Then I leave the bowl covered on the counter and prepare all the ingredients for the soup, or whatever else I'm going to cook. And by the time all of the ingredients have reached the pot and I switch on the stove, I can already shape my loaf of bread and add any extra ingredients to it. Then I put the bread in the oven, and the bread and the soup will be done around the same time. But to be quite honest, recording for this video while at the same time making bread and soup was a bit too much for me, so I changed the order of proceedings for recording purposes. I used whatever vegetables I had in the garden and combined them with some from the grocery store that happened to look good and fresh and be offered for a fairly low price. I don't meal plan at all, because being more flexible saves me quite a lot of money. This way I can take advantage of good offers instead of hunting for specific ingredients. So you can see that I made this video when cauliflower was in season, which was a bit earlier in summer. While carrots and celeriac root are cheap all year round, at least where I live. And they add tons of flavor to any soup, with the celeriac being so savory and the carrots adding sweetness. I would normally add some potatoes, but this time I had some leftover potatoes from the previous day that were already cooked, so I added those after everything else was done. We had this meal a lot during summer, but it was different each time, because with the season progressing, different vegetables were available. And I also made different breads. So while I don't have a large garden, let alone a homestead, and I don't get to can or otherwise preserve a lot, I can still make meals with the small harvests that my little cottage garden does produce. Starting in spring, all through summer, and far into fall, the key is just to be flexible and not be absolutely bent on cooking a specific dish, but see what you already have and go from there. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you again next time. Bye!